Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead, put those questions in the comments now. What I have to tell you is my good news for the day that we've gotten. So I am so happy to talk about our T visa approval that we have gotten today. Yesterday, actually, I got a notification from the office that mail came in. When I saw the name on the mail, I had to rush into the office and get that mail. Well, first of all, I hope everybody's safe and sound after the storm. Thankfully, we had a lot of tornadoes, a lot of rain, but thankfully, no hurricane force winds down in this area. So we're happy for that, and that is why I was able to rush into the office and go get the mail. And the reason why this one is so special is because it is for an entire family. So this is the T visa. An entire family's life is going to change. Husband, wife, children now have their status. And when I started, thank you so much. When I started with this family, I remember very clearly the spouse had told me right before she was gonna meet with me, she got a call, I guess a call from a church, and they did a prayer with her on the phone and then told her everything was going to be okay because that was the family's main issue, and it still is up until today. The main problem was they didn't have status. They were living in fear. They didn't know what was going to happen to them on any given day. And so getting this news means that they can celebrate. I admire this family because they stick together through thick and thin. They stuck it through, they stuck together, looked out for each other, and now it's going to pay off. They have their status, they can rest easy, they can participate in the joys without interruption, the joys of being here, pursuing opportunities without having that nagging fear that in the midst of making progress, in the midst of working hard, that something is going to come and take that away from them. They no longer have to have that fear anymore. So this is the entire family. And here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you a little about the case so that if you are going through a similar situation, you know that you could be approved as well, and we can help you to get there. So a family member brought the family here with promises of helping them to get their papers. And when the entire family came here, instead of helping them to move forward and get the papers, they turned them into slaves for them. They made them do the housework, they made them work for the business, everybody, husband, wife, children, all had to work for the family member that brought them here. And in the midst and the family member kept on driving it home. I'm the reason you're here. You can't leave. I'm the reason you're here. You have to follow what I say. If you leave this house, I'm going to get you deported. Or if you leave this house, the ICE is going to come and get you deported. Right. So it was that fear. Once again, the family member forced them to do something they did not come here to do. They didn't plan to come here to go work for their family member. They came here because the family member promised them, told them that they could get them help to be able to get their papers here. So they came for opportunities for their family. But that family member had something else in mind. And that was to benefit off of the labor of the entire family, right? So that is where, and then manipulating this family into staying in this situation for a long time, using fear tactics, using tactics of threats, tactics of intimidation, treating the family bad, verbally mistreating them and abusing them. That is, our clients now have status. They're now empowered. Now they stood up a long time ago, but they were scared, going through this. They stood up to that family member and did not, even then, after standing up to the family member, did not know that they qualified for relief based on what happened to them. But thankfully, they came to me. I was able to listen to their story, because that's what attorneys, a lot of attorneys are not doing this. A lot of attorneys aren't stopping to listen to what happened, right? And that's what we do. We ask the right questions to get to these facts. And so when I understood, based on the questions that I asked, I understood what the situation was. I realized that this was definitely going to be a provable tea. So here we are, a year later, a little more than a year later. They their lives are going to change, and guess what's coming next? The green card. So it's going to be, their story is such a story of inspiration. I remember the distress, the fear, but yet at the same time, the trust that they showed me, and the faith that they had. And when I saw that, I just knew that this was my mission, and mission accomplished. And we're going to see much more to come for this family. But I wanted to let you know about this, to let you understand it's possible. Even if you talk to another attorney, if they didn't ask you these questions, it's time to get a second opinion, right? So give us a call. Let's talk about your situation. Now is the time. All right. So now that I've shared my good news, I want to get to questions. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Let's get to questions. All right. So let's see here. Thank you. Thank you. I'm seeing a lot of congratulations. Great job. Good. God is good. I tell you, that is right. God is good. And what I've heard very often that really inspires me to push for my clients is, many of my clients say they have said a prayer about their situation, and then all of a sudden, the video of me talking about their situation pops up on their screen, and they realize in that moment it's time to give me a call. And that's what I've heard from clients that have gotten approved, my clients now whose cases are pending. And that drives me to keep going, because that solidifies for me that that's my mission, right? That's my mission. That's my why, for why I'm doing this. Right? Why my team has come on board to do this as well. So it's God is good. God is good in every way. All right. So let's go to questions. How long can be in the US before you can apply for T? No time. No, there's no time limit. Don't worry about time. I've gotten this approved for clients that have been here 30 years, over 30 years, not realizing that they qualified for this. So don't worry about the time, right? Just what matters is, did something like this happen to you? If it did, it's time to give us a call. Hi there, Lynn. It's nice to see you. Good evening. Good evening. Do I need to apply for prima facie determination before it expires? No, you don't need to apply for another prima facie. It's automatically renews. Can my kids under 18 from previous marriage can apply for visitor visa in home country to come to visit me in the USA while my marriage-based green card is pending? Yes, if they can get a visa, then yes, sure. They should be completely honest on their application, but once they get their visa, they can come visit. Good evening. I filed my I-130 and I-485 on 3/1/2024, but still no update from USCIS. How long it takes to get my green card? I got my work permit. So I would say, as long as you submit a solid, complete application, you're looking at about 10 months, but it depends on what your application looks like. How long will it take to receive a response from USCIS after reapplying for employment working authorization during FAWA? So usually about 2 weeks, but if it's a busy time, it could take more. You do such an awesome job at keeping your client base and social media followers well informed and updated. You do an awesome job. Thank you so much. And it's your support that keeps me going. So thank you for that. That's my mission here. Hi there, Andres. Nice to see you. Pancita, nice to see you. Evelyn, nice to see you on YouTube. All right. Okay, so let's go to TikTok. If a LPR has a charge that got dismissed, but I never arrested, will it affect my green card? If an LPR, so no, it depends. So are the facts related in some cases to you and the LPR? It just depends. Now, if you were not criminally charged, it shouldn't affect your application. But then again, what is this about? For example, um, if it's a situation, and I'm just giving you an example, this is not necessarily your situation, but say LPR spouse was charged with fighting with their longtime girlfriend, and then you're the spouse, right? Then immigration is definitely gonna have some questions about that because it could affect the how strong your proof of the bona fides of the marriage is, because it contradicts that your marriage is bona fide if the LPR spouse is fighting with longtime girlfriend, and then there was a domestic issue, they got arrested, and now it's on public record. That can be an issue, and this is a true story, by the way. This has come up in interviews, so it is a true story. They do check those things. So for example, say you are in a same-sex marriage, and this is a true story, same-sex marriage, and the both of them that were supposed to be in a same-sex marriage got arrested because they got into conflicts with their respective boyfriends, right? That were not same sex. That contradicts that the same-sex marriage is a real bona fide marriage, because how are the two spouses then getting into conflicts with the opposite sex boyfriends in the situation? So that just goes to show you how public these things get a public record, and immigration can then look at it to determine whether your marriage is bona fide. What if your brother wife is ill treating you? Yes, talk to us. We want to hear more about this. It does anybody If anybody is putting you in a situation to your brother's wife is forcing you to work in the house, forcing you to do work for the business, these are things you wouldn't volunteer to do, but you feel like you have to do it, because if you don't do it, you feel like there are going to be bad consequences, that they're going to throw you out of the house, or they're going to get you removed from the country, or they're going to report you to immigration. Then that is indicating that's a red flag for the T. Good evening. I'm a victim of domestic violence. And once you've been a victim of domestic violence, then there is possible relief for you. I would like to understand what the facts are, but there is a U visa. There's a U visa for victims of crime like domestic violence. There's a T visa. And then there's VAWA. If this spouse or this spouse is a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, or if it's even a parent, and the parent or the adult child was made you the victim of domestic violence, that also counts for VAWA to get your own green card in a confidential process. Is there a way to expedite tourist visas? I'm getting married and want my dad and siblings to come. So there are emergency visas. Unfortunately, it's usually for kind of life and death situations. But each embassy does have the guidelines on what qualifies as an emergency. I'm not sure if a wedding would be an emergency. I've seen medical situations as emergencies, but not weddings. It's still worth a shot to reach out to see if there's an emergency protocol, though. If you get a ROE, do you get approved for biometrics, or do they need the evidence first? So if they issue an RFE, sometimes I've seen this pattern where until you respond to the RFE, that work permit doesn't come. So you may have to, it's in your best interest to make sure you respond to the RFE ASAP. Disadvantages of the TN visa. So the TN visa is not permanent. It's very limited to certain professions. So not every Canadian or Mexican citizen is going to get the TN visa. You have to have your position that you're coming here to work under has to fall under that designated list. You are if you are doing an adjustment of status, you just have to be very careful about that, to avoid any kind of insinuations of misrepresentation. And then if you have to renew the TN, then if you have a permanent resident application pending, they can see that as immigrant intent to deny the TN visa. So those are some of the disadvantages. How long can you stay out of the USA with green card? I'd say 6 months is too long. You don't want to push 6 months. So, and I would even say just make your trip short until you get citizenship. Why compromise your citizenship that could be coming in a few years? But 6 months is usually the deadline. Six months in a year. The visa bulletin has been August 7th. Since September, I'm 08. When will I get permanent? F4. So yeah, it just depends on how fast they're moving on the time. So when uh, so if it's gonna be on the date, so before your date has to be before the date listed on the visa bulletin. Unfortunately, just because it's September, so for example, just because it says August 07 doesn't mean that next month is going to be September 07. Sometimes it can take 6 months for it to move. What if, so I answered that. You've been a blessing. I've been watching and listening to your videos. I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful that I can make a difference. So thank you for that. I had a pending F3 application, which is now coming through, but I overstayed my visa. So unfortunately, once you've overstayed the visa, they're not going to allow you to get the green card while being here in the US. So give us a call. Let's talk about maybe some alternative options. You do have to go through a waiver process. So if you're F3, you're the married son or daughter of a US citizen. And that means that if you are your parent is will experience extreme hardships if you don't get the green card, you can apply for what's called an I-601A waiver. The I-601A waiver doesn't allow you to stay here and get it through adjustment of status, but what it does is if they forgive it, then you're able to then go to the embassy in your country and get the immigrant visa to come back and then become a permanent resident. So can you apply for T visa even if you don't overstay, as in on a visitor's visa? Yes, that's possible. Absolutely. Now, keep in mind that if you haven't overstayed and then you apply for the T visa and then in the process, now you've overstayed your visa, it doesn't mean that in the future, you can leave the country and still travel back with your visa. Once you overstay your visa, that visa is just no longer valid. You may not accrue unlawful presence, but your visa is not going to be valid anymore. So you just have to keep those in mind when you're applying for the T. I'm from India. Currently, I'm in Poland. I'm from hospitality industry. I would like to move to the USA. So can you please help me with my job and visa? I don't do job placements or recruitments. Once you find the job, I can then work on that part, but not placing people in jobs. When applying for T visa, you have to apply for work permit and social same time. So I apply for the work permits, yes, at the same time. If on DACA and married to a US citizen over 4 years and now want to get a permanent green card, how can you go about it? So what you can do is if you're on DACA, you don't have proof of your legal entry into the US, you can, if you do have a reason to get advanced parole, you can use the advanced parole to the when you're coming back in, you'll be paroled into the country and you can use the parole to get permanent residence. So that's one way, but they do you have to go through an approval process and you have to have a reason to leave the country. What if you experienced this? What if you experienced this, but it was 2 years ago when you did not yet overstay? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the time. If you experience a situation where you are mistreated, similar to what I described, give us a call. Let's talk and get relief for you. It doesn't matter how much time has passed. What about if domestic violence, but not with a US citizen? No, there is what's called, so the policy manual at the Immigration Service, they have talked about trafficking in the domestic violence context. It does happen, and we've gotten those approved as well. Now, with that, they're focused on with domestic violence, was the domestic violence driven by the person, the partner, for example, an intimate partner's motive to get you to do something, right? Whether it's to get you to perform sex acts or to get you to do work in the house, like chores that maybe you didn't want to do, or they didn't think you did it to their satisfaction. Was it to force you to work in their business that they then resorted to domestic violence and abuse, not just physical? It could be they verbally abuse you, they get intimidating, they yell at you, so you start to try to comply with their demands in order to get that bad consequence to stop, right? To get the fear to stop, you comply with the demands that they have. If that's a situation, the T visa can be an alternative for you. So even though you didn't marry them, the VAWA wouldn't be an option, but the T could be an option. And we've gotten this for all kinds. It's 7 months now, apply for the T visa. How long it take to get SSN and work permit? So right now we're looking at bona fide. So the bona fide, waiting on bona fide determinations. Once we get the bona fide determinations and we've applied for the work permit, then they'll issue the work permit. So we're hoping to see those come within 3 to 6 months. And then the entire processing time after the T visa is approved. So this last case, I'm noticing they're going a little over a year, so a year to 18 months. This one was a year and 3 months. So, it's between a year and 18 months that these decisions are coming through, but we're hoping at the 3 to 6 months after applying, we will get the bona fides. I'll definitely report to you when those start to come in. My 19-year-old daughter has her green card. So when can she apply for naturalization? Probably in 5 years after she gets the approval for the green card, and then she can sponsor you when she's over 21 and a citizen. Can we marry someone who's not citizen yet? What would happen if that? You can get married to them before and wait for them to become a citizen. That's fine. Now, if you have to be careful about marrying a permanent resident who is still within that 5-year timeline of getting a green card from a US citizen, right? And they're still within 5 years after getting that green card, then that's going to be a problem. So you definitely, I always say this though, before you take any action, get a lawyer on board that can advise you. I'm married to a US citizen, but I come through the border. How can I get residency? So when you do come through the border and it's uninspected, they have not paroled you, then adjustment of status is not going to be the possibility here. maybe going through court, but if you haven't been, nobody's going to put themselves in immigration court to be able to get the address. That's too stressful, because if that doesn't work, you get deported. So also there is the parole in place. It's on hold right now, so we have to wait and see what happens there. But that is a hope that we have in the future. I have to be in the US to apply for the T visa. So, yes, in most cases, yes, you have to be in the US, because you do have to show that you are present in the US on account of the trafficking. Um, how long after you apply for labor deferred action can I wait to get the work permit? So once the DOL, Department of Labor, then issues the letter, that letter is used to then apply to USCIS, and then after that you can get the work permit. So I would think deferred action usually takes about 3 to 6 months to get that. Now, here's the disadvantage, but what they're doing is they're accepting the work permit at the same time as the deferred action application. So you have to make sure you apply for them at the same time. All right. If you get, okay. Let's see. How can I get a work permit on SSN? I overstayed my visa. Give us a call. We do it case by case. So we have to understand what's going on in your case to see if you can qualify for relief to get it. How long is it taking for a work permit renewal? So it can take anywhere, I'm noticing around 6 months to get that. Please, how long does work permit take? But keep in mind, work permit renewal, now you can use your receipt notice. As long as you timely file the renewal, you can use your work permit receipt notice that has 540-day extension, automatic extension on the receipt notice to continue working. How long does a work permit take on CAT after applying? So the last I worked on a CAT, um, I have an asylum interview. It's been 1 year now, no response. So sometimes that means they're doing a little looking and thinking and processing on it. So if it takes too long, you may do a case inquiry, or you also may need to may need to get an attorney to file a lawsuit if it's way over the time. I got my green card in November 2022. When will I be eligible for applying for citizenship? So it depends on how, if you got it through a marriage to a US citizen, you're still married to the US citizen, it's going to be November 2025. If you got it any other way, it's going to be 5 years, so 2027. And you can apply 90 days before the actual date on your card. Please, how long does a work permit take after a CAT? Okay, so I answered that. My brother applied for me and my family in '08. I'm living in Guyana, still haven't heard anything. Yes, because it does take at least 14 years. Now you said '08, so that would be um, about 2022. So you can always check with the National Visa Center to see if they do have the case. If your petition was approved, you can check with the USCIS, but you'll have to check on the status of that, because it's taking about 14 years for these to be processed. I went through something similar, but it's over 20 years ago. Can I still file for a T? Absolutely, yes. Give us a call, schedule the appointment, and then let's get on it. Absolutely. We do have to confirm you qualify. Can I get status while overstaying the USA? It's possible. Many of my clients are out of status when they apply for the T, for example, for VAWA, and they do get through successfully. So it just depends on your facts, though. That's where the consultation is very important. Now, here's how you can empower yourself and get the help you need to be able to see if you can qualify for one of these options. Go to the link in the profile, go to the link in the description of the video. On TikTok, go to the link on the profile page, click on the link, and it's going to take you to Linktree, where you'll see a button to schedule your own appointment. We have 3 attorneys. 3 of us work very closely together to qualify our clients, to make sure that you qualify and that we have winning cases here. So you can talk to any Bria, Attorney Diana, and then you can also schedule. Our schedules are filling up hard and fast, so make sure that you schedule. Yes, so I tried scheduling an appointment with you, but I'm available only until December. So yes, that's why I say book your appointment. And we do have 2 other attorneys here that do screen cases just like me, that understand what we are looking for, trained to be able to spot the issues just like me. So make sure you're booking. Make sure you're booking of our attorneys. My work permit was approved a month ago, but with some mailing issues, I just got it. And my estimate reviewing for my I-485 said 2 months, which would be next week. Would that delay because I just received? No. Just did. And going to be accurate one day, it really has not been very helpful, that tool that they have there on the USCIS. Okay, so 2 years ago, 2 years after interview updated to fingerprints were taken, 2 years after interview. So this is where you should definitely check to see what the processing time is compared to what your processing time is, because you may have to submit a case inquiry and maybe even take it further than that, because 2 years after an interview is going very long to get an answer. Is getting married the only way to get the green card? No, I've been talking about the ways to get the green card without marriage for years. So follow me, you'll be able to get all those tips, and just give us a call and we can tell you after an evaluation whether you can qualify for a way to apply without the need to get married. A child dad seek asylum, but my daughter was born here. You think she could him, but she is just 7. No, so she cannot apply for him to get his green card if she's a US citizen and under 21. She has to wait till she's over 21. She's 21 or over. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Thanks for the love, everybody. What's the cost of the call? So it's $150 for half an hour consultation. So give us a call. What we do, we have multiple schedules for our attorneys. So give us a call or go to the link in the profile and see if we have an opening for tomorrow. Sometimes there may be openings, just depending if there was a cancellation. That's rare though, that we have cancellations, but it's worth checking. And then you can also call the office, and they are very accommodating. They try to help everybody with availability as soon as possible. I've applied for my N400, but notice my first name is missing a letter. How can I get that fixed? So you'll have to submit, you can call them to figure out how to correct that. There's also a tool to correct typographical errors. that you can also submit through the USCIS account. We need a lawyer for a family member seeking asylum who needs to have their case appealed urgently. So you can always give us a call and let's see if we can talk about that, the appeal. All right. I'm married to someone in a different state after the tax season. Can I still send in my docs without tax form? So the affidavit of support, the affidavit of support requires a tax return of your petitioner, which would be your spouse, for 2023, because we're not filing 2024 until next year. So if you have 2023's tax return, you can file that one. But they are going to require that tax return. And sometimes what I do see is if they do an RFE for the affidavit of support, they wait until you respond to the RFE before issuing that work permit. So I see that pattern often. So make sure you're on top of that. Make sure you submit those documents before so you don't have to get an RFE. Good evening. How long after receiving your work permit through VAWA you get your green card status? I would say another 2 years after. I'm green card. I'm also eligible to apply for N400. If I recently travel abroad, do I need to wait? No. If you travel outside of the US and you stayed outside of the US for 1 year, consecutive year, then they're going to deny it automatically for staying out of the country for 1 year. And you may face problems regarding your green card, right? I'm not really seeing a lot of notices to appear in court to take away the green card, but there is the risk that they could determine that you abandoned your green card if you stay outside of the country for 1 whole year. If you travel for 2 weeks, if you travel for a month, then no problem there. If you travel for 6 months and up, then they will give, what they will do is they will presumably as they will assume that you abandoned your green card. Now that presumption is rebuttable, meaning that you can show them evidence that you did not abandon your residence if you stayed more than 6 months but under 1 year. Then it's rebuttable, meaning if you can convince them otherwise, they'll still give you the citizenship. Now, showing them otherwise means that you can show that you maintain domicile here in the US, you paid for your house, you paid your taxes, you still had your job, you were just on leave maybe from your job temporarily, that to show that you didn't intend to abandon your residence. I got RFE I-693. It means final decision. Yes, so if you just got an RFE for the medical alone, it does indicate that they may make a decision without the interview. How long time U visa approval? I applied 2022. So apply 2022, you're looking at 7 to 10 years to get the final approval. But what they do is they do deferred action. And that's about 1.5 years to get that deferred action that can get you the work permit. If I got denied at my interview, got 30 days to leave country. If the days has already passed, can you apply for VAWA? Absolutely. Give us a call. That's what we help with. Yes, as long as you apply for the VAWA, you are going to be protected there. So there won't be the expectation that you leave in that time. Adjustment of status transfer to local office. What does that mean? That the local office is either going to make a decision or schedule that interview before making the decision. If my I-130 petition for marriage green card is at Queensfield office, how long before it's approved? It depends on how long they take at that particular office, what their processing times look like. Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I know my connection was a little choppy before. Just let me know. How can I reach out to personally when I call. So you'll call the office. That's how you're gonna get through. So you start with the office. The staff will help you to schedule an appointment with either me or our two attorneys that work closely with me. And then from there, you'll be able to get on one of our calendars, and then we'll talk in a personal consultation. If you have abandoned your green card but need to have it reinstated, so it depends. If you're outside of the country, you can apply for what's called an SB1 visa. It's basically a re-entry permit for a past resident. If you if you just getting that off. If you did not if you're here in the country, then it just depends. It depends on what the situation is. So, all right. How long after VAWA application you receive travel documents? I would say 6 months to a year. How long after green card interview can you sue for a final decision? So if it goes over the processing time, or if now there is an administrative process you have to go through if you've already gotten a denial. So you have to go through the administrative process, and then you can decide whether you want to sue in federal court as well. I filed for fiance visa about 4 months. I didn't hear anything back. Is that normal? Yes. No, if you didn't get the receipt notice, that's a problem. Do you offer payment plans to less fortunate individuals who can't make full payment at once? Absolutely. Yes, we do that. We have work permit and SSN through asylum. Would we have to get these again for the T visa? Yes, you'd get them again for the T visa. So what matters is, do you qualify? Once you qualify, and the T visa processing times is much shorter than asylum. So if then you qualify for T visa, even though you do have an asylum pending, you can always, they may cancel the asylum if you qualify for the T. So if someone come here illegal, are there a possibility for them to get a green card? Yes, absolutely. We've done that for our clients. It is possible. How long does VAWA take? So it takes 3 years, but keep in mind that you do get a 5-year work permit while you're waiting. So 3 years, so even the work permit lasts longer than the process, but they make sure that they give you enough time to hold over on that. What is a T visa? T visa is for victims of trafficking. And it's, for example, if you've been mistreated by anybody who has forced you into a situation you didn't want to be in, but you felt forced because they mistreated you, they coerced you, they were intimidating towards you, they threatened to call immigration on you to get you to do those things. That's a form of trafficking. And when that exists, then you can get the T visa relief. The T visa gets you the 4-year work permit as well as a 4-year status. So you get an updated immigration status on your I-94. And then after you get approved, you can apply for the green card. Now, there are 2 ways to apply for the green card. You can apply for permission to get the green card early, or you can apply 3 years after getting. So what's a lipstick? It's Sephora. It's Sephora. I don't know the name of the shade, but I get the shades, all shades in pink and red. Thank you so much. Thanks for that soul expression. I appreciate that. What happens when the boss refuses to pay you and fire you because of an emergency with your child? Time to call us. That's what it means. That this is a huge red flag for the T visa. So give us a call. Let's talk about what happened, and then we can get you those papers should you qualify. I was told that I qualify for the T visa. What are the requirements for setting up a payment plan? So we usually send our quote sheet, and the quote sheet will explain the payment plans, and then you can choose one. When you choose one, then we send you everything you need to get started, our retainer agreement and the invoice to start. And then we start setting up meetings to get the process going, and we get straight to work. If someone come here illegal, are there a possibility for them to get a green card? I answered that one. Please, can I send EB2 application? No, even though I am visiting a visa interview. It depends. This is too, it's too vague, right? The EB2 is up for permanent residents. The visitor's visa is temporary. So when you're submitting an EB2 application and then you're going to go to a visitor's visa interview, they're going to see that application and they're going to know you have immigrant intent, and they're likely to deny your application. So I would say, even though I don't know your case, I'm not your attorney and this is not personalized legal advice, maybe it's best to first focus on your visitor's visa and then evaluate your options for the EB2. My visa was canceled in 2016. Now married to a US citizen. Do I need a waiver to come back to the US? If it was canceled, you were turned around, but they didn't. If they barred you for 5 years, and obviously those 5 years have passed, but they did not find you for anything like misrepresentation or fraud or any other serious immigration violations, then you may be okay. But this is where I say, in order to avoid any delays in your case, schedule an appointment with us and let's talk about it, because if there is more to it, you may think, oh, it was just canceled, but they may have written in your passport that you have. So usually what they'll do is they'll write out the statute that applies, like the statute that applies to the violations that were committed when, and the reason they canceled your visa. And if in there it's that statute is referring to misrepresentation or fraud, then you're going to have a bigger problem, because that's a permanent bar. So we would have to apply for a waiver in that case. So I applied for VAWA, got RFE for good moral character, got letter from sheriff's office to show I have no outstanding warrants or lockups. Also got letter from manager. So yes, you're on the right path. What I do that's just a lot easier for my clients is we just do an FBI background check, and that takes care of the good moral character situation. Now, if you do have anything on your record, you're gonna have to do a little more work. It, Hello, what's the status on permit parole? Is it good to travel now? Advanced parole that's a travel document. It's really on a case by case basis. I'd say this: if you have anything in your background, don't travel. Does my attorney have a right to file a lawsuit? Yes, as long as it qualifies for a lawsuit. Yes. How can payments be made for the consultation? Give us a call. The staff can help you. But when you go to the link in the description of the video on Facebook, you're going to see the link tree. Go to that, and then it's going to let you click on confirm your own appointment. You can pay by putting in your payment information there to confirm the appointment, or call the office and they will send you an invoice that you can pay to be able to schedule your appointment. So give the office a call now, or give the office a call. So give the office a call now, and we'll definitely call you back. We do have staff answering messages, answering DMs, messages, and phone calls 24/7. And then they will definitely give you a call back to schedule. Is it normal to do biometrics and get work permit after a year and still no prima facie? I said that's a little strange. If there's no prima facie, you can always check in with the I what I do is I check in with the immigration, the VAWA unit. So we have an email that we can send to, and I'll say, hey, we haven't gotten the prima facie, just checking on whether there's anything else needed before we can get that issued. And then usually it comes in the mail after that. All right. Thanks so much for your time today. The questions are amazing as always. Give us a call. That's how you're going to know whether you can get the help to fix your papers, to get your work permit, to get your green card here. Give us a call, schedule the appointment with me or our two attorneys. We work closely to get this done. With a T visa, can you put your children on it even if they are not in the States with you? Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely, yes. And that goes for VAWA as well, right? So your children, you can apply with your children. If they're in the US, you can apply with your children. If they're outside of the country for T, we submit the applications for the children, and then when you get the approval, everybody gets the approval, and then we just have to process the paperwork for the visa to be issued at the embassy. So yes, um, as I said previously, the win that we have today is the entire family got their papers, entire family. So wife, children got their papers from one approval. So it is possible. It is a benefit here. Um, okay, I filed for my children from 2017, and they said that it was at the country and they're waiting on the date. So yeah, so they may be waiting for the interview. So you'd have to contact the National Visa Center to see where they're at on that. Can you apply for adult children? It's possible it takes long though. I'd say 5 to 7 years. How can I know if my case is at the NVC or embassy? You'll get a welcome letter. The petitioner usually gets the welcome letter. So check with, contact the NVC. It's at the Department of State's website. Google Department of State, go to the official website, and then look at the NVC, how to contact them, and then just put in your case number in the inquiry form, and then ask them if, usually the petitioner has to do this, but ask if they're there. Thank you so much, Lavishka Slavi. Yes, they are just as good. They've been with me, and we all work together. So absolutely. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great evening. Thanks for all these amazing questions. Give us a call, schedule your appointment. It's coming down to the end of the year now. It's time to get it right in 2025, right? So make sure you schedule your appointment, start prepping for 2025. 2025 is going to be the year for you. And I want to be a part of that success story, just as I have been a part of my client success stories, miracle stories. I want to be a part of yours. I know that's my mission. So give me a call. Let's prepare. It takes us time to get this done. So let's prepare from now. Give us a call. Let's get it in 2025. All right. Have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye. All right, Arlene, looking forward to talking to you.